Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a 2021 model year release. This is the first ever 43mm Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Chronograph. So the watch is 43mm in diameter, principally in stainless steel, though the bezel, chronograph pushers, and crown shoulder are all scratch-resistant black ceramic. The watch measures 14.5 millimeters thickened from lug tip to lug tip, 53.5 millimeters, but if you add these little intermediate plots, the total rigid distance across the wrist is a meaty 56.5 millimeters. Now we'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, get a sense of this watch's size. It is sizable, and it is weighty, but it fits well. You can see that the lugs are actually curved at their end. They angle down, so I believe you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as mine, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and if your wrist is more oval than round, it might even fit on a 15 centimeter circumference wrist. It's nicely weighted and well balanced with a handsome appearance and a surprisingly flat profile when it's actually hunkered down. Taking a look at the strap, you can see it is a lovely sort of military olive green with a matte finish. Some character lines visually extend the little intermediate plots. The bevel on the side of the case continues into the profile of the strap, which I love. And a new feature on these watches is the quick release system. So you simply press each of these little triggers, and it works just like a seatbelt buckle. You pop it right off. Now you can fit a different color strap if you wish. You can fit, if you wish, a leather strap. AP has many options for these, and replacing the strap is as simple as just sticking it right back in there. Now, because it doesn't make any sense to have a quick release from the case without a quick release from the buckle as well, if you want to swap the strap, you could see how there is an articulation built into this double-hinged root of the pin buckle, and from there you could just simply pivot it and pop it off. We have a combination here of satin and media blasting, which is handsome and a nice little contrast. You could easily consider this an overlooked detail, but this buckle has been handsomely rendered. You have the matte finishing of the media blasting, the satination, and then there's a little polished bevel on the end. Everything is considered, everything is thoughtfully designed. That continues on the case. We have a wholesale change from previous offshores on the crown side, where you can see that the crown guard structures have a techno-industrial faceted form akin to a modern Lamborghini supercar, and they are actually held on by little hex screws, so if they ever get gouged too badly, they can be removed. Chronograph pushers are now made of ceramic, and you can see that their sides are satinated, but their outer faces are polished. We have the same contrast between satin and polish on the ceramic shoulder for the crown. You can actually see that there are little polished intermediates between the large satinated facets. We can also appreciate that this is a screw-down crown. The watch is 100 meters water-resistant. Satinated lug hoods, satinated case flank, and of course little bevels that expand at the end of the lug hoods. This is a hand-finished case, and we have a hand-finished bezel. The same lush treatment lavished on a standard Royal Oak is also invested in an offshore. So we have a lot of hand finishing of surfaces, but you can see that the bezel now tapers from the center to its ends. As you can see, it's thinner in profile at the end than it is at the mid case, and it tapers towards the end on each side. You can also see that there's a little bit of a dihedral or a inflection in the sapphire, which refracts in unusual ways because of the way it is curved to match the bezel. We have steel bolts inside the bezel, which is polished on its side and then satin finished on its top. The bezel is highly scratch resistant, so along with the sapphire, it acts as a sort of heat shield to prevent the rest of your watch from getting nicked or dinged. Now the watch features a fumé base. It fades from silver gray to almost black at its edge. It has the newest version of the Mega Tapisserie, which is the large hobnail, and in addition to a more pyramid-like profile with cross-hatching between the hobnails, there's actually a striation atop each hobnail to give it a very different, more nuanced appearance than the previous stamped and lacquered versions. We have a tachymeter outboard, which you can use with the chronograph to gauge the speed of an object, such as a race car over a kilometer. We have a chronograph that now works as a flyback. It is a new in-house caliber. More on that in a moment. We have a couple of black registers on the dial. They are printed white on black. We have chronograph hours, chronograph minutes, constant seconds. Chronograph registers are white varnished, and we have a new profile for the hands as well as the hour indices themselves, all of which are applique. Now, because this is a new in-house caliber, we have a flush fit date. It's no longer a modular complication, so you're no longer looking through a tunnel down to the base movement, which is why the date is flushed with the dial now. Each of the chapter rings for the sub-registers is polished, a nice upscale accent. We have an applique polished AP logo. The watch features a new caliber 4401. This was launched in 2019 on the code 1159 and is proliferating throughout the Audemars Piguet chronographs regardless of family. So we have a rotor bearing at center with ceramic bearings for higher efficiency. Power reserve goes up from 60 hours, now 70 hours. Beat rate goes up from 21,600 to 28,800, which makes the watch potentially more shock tolerant and resistant to shock-induced timing deviation. We still get a free-sprung gyromax style balance and a full balance bridge, which makes the watch shock tolerant. And as you can see, we have a black polished column wheel that makes for crisp actuation, and one of the few applications of a vertical clutch I've ever seen where the vertical clutch mechanism is actually visible. It's adjacent to the balance, and you can actually see the engagement and disengagement of the mechanism. The vertical clutch engages with absolutely no jump or stagger, which means that there's no extraneous movement to the seconds hand when you start the chronograph, and if you wish, you can just leave the chronograph running full time with no hazard to the movement. There is a hacking seconds function as well as a quick set for the date, and all of this pivots on 40 joules. The movement is a handsome combination of manual finish and machine finish that I would compare favorably to FP Journe. So if you're familiar with that standard of finish, that's exactly what you're getting right here. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Chronograph.